Welcome back to Stoic Spirit. If you're new to the channel, I'm so glad you're here. In today's video, we're diving into 10 powerful Stoic principles that can help you emotionally detach from anyone or anything that might be holding you back. Whether you're dealing with a toxic relationship, a challenging friendship, or simply an emotional attachment that no longer serves you, Stoicism offers timeless wisdom that can guide you to emotional freedom. In a world full of distractions and emotional turbulence, it's easy to get caught up in other people's behaviors, opinions, or expectations. But the Stoics believe that true peace comes from within, not from external sources. The principles we'll discuss today are designed to help you regain control over your emotions, let go of unnecessary attachments, and find inner peace regardless of what's happening around you. So, if you're ready to take control of your emotional well-being and learn how to detach from what no longer serves you, stay tuned as we explore these life-changing Stoic strategies. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more wisdom on how to live a calmer, more resilient life with Stoic philosophy. 1. Accept what you can't control. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the idea that we cannot control the actions, behaviors, or emotions of others. We may wish we could change how people behave, make them understand our feelings, or alter the outcomes of situations. But the Stoic perspective reminds us that all of these are beyond our control. What we can control, however, is our own response. This simple but profound shift in focus can transform how we approach challenges, especially in relationships or situations where we feel emotionally attached to someone. Emotional attachment often arises from trying to control something outside our influence. We become invested in someone else's actions, hoping they will meet our expectations or give us the validation we seek. This desire to control can cause frustration, disappointment, and even prolonged emotional pain. But Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes from releasing this need to control others or the outcomes of situations. Instead, we focus on controlling how we respond to what happens to us. By acknowledging that we cannot control others, we free ourselves from the emotional burden of trying to change them. This doesn't mean we stop caring about people or give up on relationships. It simply means that we learn to accept that their actions are their own responsibility, not ours to manage. When we let go of this need for control, we find more peace, less frustration, and a deeper sense of emotional resilience. In practical terms, this means recognizing when you're starting to feel anxious or upset because of someone else's actions and consciously reminding yourself that you can't control them. You can control your own emotions, your reactions, and the way you choose to move forward. This is the first step in emotionally detaching from someone or a situation, and it is essential for developing the emotional strength needed to live peacefully and with clarity. 2. Understand your own values. One of the most powerful ways to emotionally detach from someone is by understanding your own values and knowing your worth. When you are clear on what you stand for and what truly matters to you, you no longer seek external validation to feel good about yourself. In many relationships, we often become emotionally attached because we rely on others' opinions or actions to define our self-worth. We seek approval, affirmation, or love to feel validated, which can lead to unhealthy emotional dependence. Stoicism teaches us that our worth is inherent and not dependent on anyone else's approval. The Stoics believe that we should base our sense of self on what we control, our own actions, choices, and virtues, not on how others perceive us. By deeply understanding your values, you create a strong foundation within yourself. This internal clarity gives you the confidence and emotional independence to let go of attachments that no longer serve you. When you know your values, you're no longer swayed by someone else's behavior or judgment. You can maintain your peace and emotional balance. Even in difficult situations, this self-awareness acts as an anchor, helping you detach from people who might try to manipulate your emotions or shift your sense of self. You begin to value your own standards over external influence, allowing you to navigate life with a steady and calm mind. In practical terms, take some time to reflect on your core values: honesty, kindness, respect, loyalty, or any other principles that matter to you. When you truly understand these values, you'll realize that you don't need anyone's approval to feel complete or validated. This realization will help you release emotional attachment and find peace within yourself. 3. Live in the present moment. Living in the present moment is a key Stoic principle that can significantly help you emotionally detach from someone. Often, we find ourselves emotionally tied to people or situations because we're either holding on to past memories or anxiously anticipating future outcomes. These attachments can cloud our judgment and prevent us from experiencing peace in the here and now. Stoicism teaches us that the only moment we truly have is the present. Everything else is either a memory or a projection, neither of which can provide real fulfillment. When we dwell on the past, we relive old emotional wounds or regrets, often holding on to what was, instead of accepting what is. This attachment to past experiences can create unnecessary emotional baggage, keeping us tethered to relationships or situations that no longer serve us. On the other hand, when we obsess about the future, we become anxious about things we cannot control, fearing potential outcomes that may never happen. This creates tension and prevents us from fully engaging with the present. The Stoics remind us that by focusing on the present, we free ourselves from the grip of the past and the anxiety of the future. Instead of worrying about how someone might behave or what might happen in the future, you focus on what you can do right now to cultivate your own emotional peace. By practicing mindfulness and being present in the moment, you detach from the emotional pull of past attachments and future worries, allowing you to move forward with clarity. To apply this principle, try taking small steps to bring your focus back to the present, whether it's through mindful breathing, focusing on your surroundings, or simply observing your thoughts without judgment. Being present helps you let go of emotional baggage and create space for inner peace. When you stop living in the past or future, you regain control over your emotions and experience greater freedom. 4. Embrace change as part of life. Change is an inevitable part of life, and yet we often resist it, especially in relationships and personal connections. We hold on tightly to people, situations, or ways of being because we fear the unknown or are attached to how things once were. Stoicism teaches us that change is not something to fight against, but to embrace. Life is in constant flux, and our relationships, personal growth, and circumstances are all subject to it. By accepting change as a natural part of existence, we can detach emotionally from situations and people with grace. When we accept that nothing in life is permanent, it becomes easier to let go of attachments without fear or regret. Relationships may evolve, people may change, or certain situations may no longer serve us as they once did. Holding on to the past or clinging to what is familiar only creates emotional resistance. Instead of trying to control or preserve the status quo, Stoicism encourages us to flow with life, trusting that change is necessary for growth and that new opportunities will always emerge from it. This acceptance of change allows you to release the emotional grip on people or circumstances that no longer align with your values or bring you peace. For example, if a relationship is shifting or a friendship is evolving, instead of resisting or clinging to it out of fear of losing it, you can approach the situation with an open heart, allowing it to evolve naturally. When you embrace the transient nature of life, you can let go of attachments without regret, knowing that change is a path toward growth and renewal. By recognizing that everything is temporary, whether it's joy or pain, you begin to detach from the idea that things must stay the same. In doing so, you gain the freedom to move forward, knowing that every phase of life is just that, a phase. 5. Detach from the emotions of others. One of the most empowering principles of Stoicism is emotional independence. The Stoics believe that we should never allow the emotions of others to dictate our own emotional state. In our daily interactions, it's easy to become entangled in the feelings of those around us. Whether it's a partner's anger, a friend's sadness, or a colleague's stress, we often find ourselves absorbing their emotions and allowing them to affect our peace of mind. Stoicism teaches us to recognize that the emotions of others belong to them, not to us, and we have the power to choose how we respond. When you become emotionally entangled with someone else's feelings, you lose your inner peace. It's as though you're letting someone else control your emotional landscape, which leaves you vulnerable to their moods and reactions. The Stoics believed in cultivating emotional resilience, meaning that we should remain anchored in our own sense of tranquility, regardless of what's happening around us. This doesn't mean we disregard other people's emotions or become cold and indifferent. It simply means that we understand that their feelings are their own responsibility, not ours to fix or absorb. To practice emotional detachment, start by observing when you feel your emotions shifting because of someone else's behavior. Are you becoming upset because of their anger or anxious because of their stress? Recognize that you have the ability to maintain your own emotional equilibrium, no matter what's happening externally. Instead of reacting impulsively to their emotions, take a step back, breathe, and remind yourself that you are not responsible for how others feel. By doing this, you preserve your own emotional well-being and protect your peace. This Stoic practice of detachment allows you to remain calm in the face of external turmoil, empowering you to navigate relationships with greater clarity and emotional strength. You will no longer be a passive participant in the emotional dynamics of others, but an active protector of your own emotional state. 6. Cultivate patience. Emotional detachment is a process that takes time, and it's important to be patient with yourself as you navigate this journey. Stoicism teaches us that patience is a vital virtue, one that allows us to approach challenges with a calm and measured mindset. When we're trying to detach emotionally from someone or something, it's easy to become frustrated if we don't see immediate results. However, Stoics remind us that true emotional growth doesn't happen overnight. It requires time, self-compassion, and the willingness to move forward at a pace that feels right for you. Rather than forcing change or expecting instant relief, practice the art of patience. Acknowledge that healing and letting go are gradual processes, and allow yourself the space to feel what you need to feel. In the midst of emotional detachment, you may experience moments of doubt or pain, and that's okay. Stoicism teaches us not to rush our emotions or suppress them, but to process them with mindfulness and understanding. By practicing patience, you honor the natural rhythm of emotional healing and create the conditions for true, lasting change. This means giving yourself grace to stumble, to feel conflicted, or to experience setbacks. Detaching from emotional attachments isn't about achieving perfection. It's about progress. Trust that with each step forward, you are growing stronger and more resilient. Patience is not just about waiting. It's about how you handle the waiting period. By practicing patience with yourself, you develop the emotional resilience to let go of what no longer serves you, while maintaining your peace of mind throughout the process. Remember, the Stoics believe that everything worthwhile takes time. So, don't rush your emotional journey. Trust in the process. Be gentle with yourself, and let patience guide you to a place of emotional freedom and balance. 7. Don't depend on others for your happiness. A central tenet of Stoic philosophy is that true happiness comes from within, not from external sources. In many relationships, we can become emotionally dependent on others for validation, love, or happiness, hoping that their approval or affection will fill a void inside us. However, Stoicism teaches us that relying on others for our emotional fulfillment leaves us vulnerable. If our happiness depends on someone else's behavior or approval, we are essentially giving up control of our emotional well-being. When we stop depending on others for our happiness, we take back the power to create joy and fulfillment within ourselves. The Stoics believe that happiness is not something to be sought in the actions of others or in external circumstances, but rather in our own thoughts, actions, and attitudes. By focusing on developing inner virtues such as wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, we build a foundation of happiness that is stable and independent of outside influences. This doesn't mean that we should avoid relationships or stop seeking love and connection with others, but rather that we should not place the burden of our happiness on them. Instead of waiting for someone else to make us happy, we learn to find contentment within ourselves. The Stoic practice of self-reliance teaches us that we are the architects of our own happiness, and it is up to us to cultivate peace, joy, and fulfillment from within. By understanding that happiness is a personal responsibility, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster of relying on others for validation. We become more resilient and emotionally independent, able to navigate life with a sense of inner calm, regardless of external circumstances. This internal peace is the true foundation of emotional detachment, enabling us to maintain our balance even when relationships or situations change. 8. Practice compassion and understanding. At the heart of Stoicism is a deep sense of empathy and compassion. The Stoics believe that understanding the struggles and burdens of others helps us detach emotionally in a way that is not harsh or resentful. When we understand that everyone has their own challenges, fears, and limitations, it becomes easier to let go of bitterness or anger towards others. Compassion allows us to see beyond our own emotional reactions and respond with kindness and understanding, rather than clinging to negative feelings. In relationships, it's common to feel hurt or frustrated when others behave in ways we don't agree with or when they fail to meet our expectations. However, the Stoics encourage us to practice empathy by reminding ourselves that everyone is fighting their own battle. By taking a step back and recognizing that their actions may be driven by their own emotional struggles, we can approach the situation with greater understanding, rather than reacting impulsively with judgment or resentment. Compassion doesn't mean we condone harmful behavior or allow ourselves to be mistreated, but rather that we respond to situations with a sense of understanding and grace. It helps us detach emotionally without harboring anger or bitterness, which would only weigh us down. When we let go of these negative emotions, we free ourselves to move forward with kindness, rather than staying stuck in resentment or frustration. By practicing compassion, we also cultivate a sense of peace within ourselves. We can let go of expectations, forgive others for their shortcomings, and detach from situations that no longer serve us. This allows us to maintain our own emotional balance and respond to challenges with equanimity, while still holding space for empathy and kindness toward others. Ultimately, compassion strengthens our emotional resilience and enables us to navigate the ups and downs of life with a calmer, more understanding heart. 9. Choose reason over emotion. In times of emotional turmoil or conflict, it's natural to feel an urge to react impulsively. Our emotions often push us to act quickly, whether it's to defend ourselves, express anger, or seek instant relief. However, Stoicism teaches us to pause and turn to reason, rather than allowing emotions to control our actions. When we choose reason over emotion, we create space to respond thoughtfully and intentionally, rather than reacting from a place of heightened feelings. The Stoics emphasize the importance of rational thought in maintaining emotional balance. By taking a step back during moments of emotional intensity, we allow ourselves to assess the situation logically. This detachment from impulsive emotional reactions helps us see the bigger picture and determine the most constructive course of action. Instead of getting caught up in the storm of our feelings, we use reason as a guide to make decisions that serve our long-term well-being and peace of mind. For example, if someone says something hurtful or if a situation triggers negative emotions. The Stoic approach would be to pause, breathe, and reflect before responding. Ask yourself, what is truly within my control here? Or how can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? By choosing reason, you detach from the immediate surge of anger, sadness, or frustration, and instead respond with clarity and purpose. This practice of pausing before reacting not only helps preserve your emotional health, but also allows you to approach challenges with a calm and rational mindset. Over time, as you strengthen your ability to choose reason over emotion, you gain greater emotional resilience and are less likely to be swept away by the highs and lows of life. You learn to navigate difficult situations with wisdom and self-control, ensuring that your responses are measured and aligned with your deeper values. 10. Master the art of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools in emotional detachment, and Stoicism offers a deep understanding of its true meaning. It's important to recognize that forgiveness is not about condoning or excusing negative behavior. Rather, it's about releasing the emotional hold that someone's actions have on your life. When we hold on to grudges or resentment, we allow the actions of others to continue affecting us, keeping us tethered to past hurts. Stoicism teaches us that by choosing to forgive, we free ourselves from this emotional burden, allowing our minds and hearts to heal. Forgiveness does not mean we forget or minimize the pain someone may have caused us. It simply means that we choose not to let that pain control our emotions or dictate our future. It's about recognizing that the negative emotions tied to the hurtful event are only harming us, not the person who caused it. In this way, forgiveness becomes a means of self-liberation, a way to reclaim your emotional peace and move forward with greater clarity. The Stoics believe that holding on to resentment is a form of self-inflicted suffering. When we choose to forgive, we stop allowing the past to define us or the actions of others to control our emotional state. It's a process of detaching from the person or the event that caused us pain and no longer letting it have the power to affect our present or future. Forgiveness also requires a certain level of emotional maturity and self-awareness. It's an active decision to let go of the bitterness and anger that can hold us hostage. Through forgiveness, we heal not only our hearts but also our relationship with ourselves, as we take responsibility for our own emotional well-being. Ultimately, mastering the art of forgiveness is a liberating practice. It allows us to move forward with a sense of peace, knowing that we no longer carry the weight of past hurts. By forgiving, we detach emotionally, regain our personal power, and open ourselves to the possibility of new beginnings. By incorporating these Stoic principles into your life, you can learn to detach emotionally from anyone who's draining your energy or holding you back. Remember, Stoicism isn't about rejecting people or relationships. It's about mastering your own emotions and finding peace regardless of the external chaos. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who might benefit from these timeless lessons. Thanks for watching, and stay calm, stay wise,